Okay, so let's get started then. Welcome everybody. My name is Stephanie Buchkowski. I'm Director of Admissions here at Niagara University. I'm so glad you could join us. We had one earlier in the month and it was very successful. We have someone coming in. Very successful then too, and I'm sure it'll be the same this evening. Katie shares a lot of great information, everything you need to know, any questions that you might have. I will be more or less kind of manning the chat box, so we'll address them at the end. But if something pops up so you don't forget, please pop it into the chat box and we'll make sure we get to it. We'll go through everything from there. But one quick thing I just want to kind of plug so that you are aware too, and you may have received the email. We're also hosting an accepted student parent forum on April 28th. It's at 6:30. So I'd love for you to join us there if you're able to. If you have any questions, it'll be myself, Katie again, our Vice President of Enrollment, and Kim Fenton, I believe, was our Director of Residence Life, and Chris Sheffield, who's Vice President for Student Affairs. So a lot of great people will be on. If you have any questions about upcoming, especially like some orientation, housing, all that kind of stuff, it'll be a great thing to join. So please keep it open. And so one more time, I'll say it's April 28th at 6:30, and it will be virtual, of course. So anyway, so with that being said, I just want to say that, and then I will turn it over to Katie, and I believe I have to make you the host, right?
Yes, please.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, Stephanie. Hello, everybody. My name is Katie Kosis. I'm the Director of Financial Aid here at Niagara University. What I'm going to go over today, I'm going to share my screen in a second so you can see all the slides. It's going to be an overview of really the next steps after you become a deposited student of the next things you need to do from a financial aid and a student account standpoint. As Stephanie said, if you have any questions, let us know, type them in the chat. Stephanie's going to help me monitor that so that we can address them as we go along. And then, of course, we'll answer some at the end. If you have any really detailed questions, we got some of these the last time that really is more for like a one-on-one thing. Feel free to, we'll give you our contact information. Feel free to reach out and you can contact our office and we'll set something up separately. Okay. Screen. Hang on one second. All right, Stephanie, can you see it? Thumbs up. This time, did it move? Okay, good. All right. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to mention, because I get asked this all the time, is about additional scholarships. So we do have our own endowed scholarship portal or search engine. It's called SOS, Scholarship Opportunity Search. If you haven't done this already, so this is for any accepted student. You don't have to be deposited, just accepted. Has access to be able to view and apply for any ones that you think might be eligible for. If you go to the main financial aid page, on the right-hand side there, you'll see Scholarship Opportunity Search. Click on that and just have to use your Purple Pass credentials to log in. And then you'll be able to go ahead and apply for any of the ones that you think you're eligible for. There is an auto match system, so it will automatically match you for some or suggest matches, I should say, for you, depending upon if what your major is, or something that we can tell from your application. But there's a lot of other ones on there that have, we wouldn't have no way of knowing if you're eligible for them until you kind of raise your hand for that. Our recommended deadline is April 15th to have those done, so that just passed. But if you, go ahead and review those, the next couple, weeks or so, we are going to start selecting the ones that we can for incoming students, but really it is an ongoing process throughout the summer to go ahead and still apply for those. So you do it as soon as possible. If you haven't done so already, there's still some time. We are going to start selecting students very shortly. Okay, so next steps. The first thing that we like to mention is FERPA. So this, students should add their parents or guardians in their MyNU, again, using your Purple Pass credentials for this. So it really allows our offices to be able to discuss the details of financial aid or student accounts or records, academics, all those types of things, if the student has given their permission for that. Right now, because they're not technically students, we can still kind of talk to people, but as soon as they become registered for classes in the summer, it really does start limiting down what we can talk to parents and guardians about unless they're on that FERPA form. The next thing is to review the financial aid checklist in the web advisor account. Again, you don't have to be deposited for this, just accepted. You can go ahead and review your financial aid award letter, different awards. We did mail it out if you have completed a FAFSA form. We hopefully put together a financial aid package for you those were mailed out in the normal mail and also emailed. But any revisions or any updates, students will get an email about that, and they can review any of the changes in the financial aid checklist in Web Advisor. And just like once they're in Web Advisor, there's only 2 options under financial aid, just financial aid checklist and the financial aid application, and that's for returning students, it's not for incoming. So you just click on the financial aid checklist, and then it will show you some different things you can do. In the drop-down box, you can go to My Awards or what else? Or the award letter, and it will show you the breakdown of their most current financial aid offer. In the My Awards section, it will show you all their grants and scholarships first. So those are things that don't have to be paid back, of course. And then it'll break out their loans. Loans, whether it's subsidized or unsubsidized, those are automatically in an offered status. We don't accept those immediately on behalf of the student. The student has to do those on their own. They are in the student's name. So they have to decide whether or not they want to take out those loans. Again, it's in an offered status. So they do have to go in there and either decide to accept or reject those loans. And there's also, if they've been awarded works. One of the other things they're going to have to do is create their mobile financial aid account. So as long as a student has completed a FAFSA form, they are eligible to create their mobile financial aid account. Not eligible, they're eligible, but they need to create it in order for us to be able to securely, view any uploaded information. Niagara.verifymyfafsa.com is where they will go to actually create their financial aid account. They can get there through that website directly, or within their checklist, it could be one of the missing items that they need. There's a link there as well. Again, Purple Pass ID, you're going to use this for literally everything at Niagara. You're going to use the Purple Pass ID. So as long as that's created, you can go ahead and use those to log in. Once your account is created, any required tasks that are needed will show up on a list and let you know what exactly is needed. And it'll just say kind of congratulations, you're all set. Or it will say, like in this case, this is someone who uploaded the verification form, but it would say that it would be missing it. There wouldn't be a check mark next to it. And there's some in the chat. Let me just look real quick. Oh, yeah.
It was asked about if it was for US.
Oh, sorry. No,
it's okay. No, I got it. It's okay.
Yes, US students only is most of the stuff that we're going to talk about, but there will be like the student count stuff will be for any students. So if you do decide to accept your federal loans, again, these are the US loans, you will need to complete some additional steps. So this would be the entrance counseling and the master promissory note. Again, this is if you're accepting your loans. Both of these have to be completed by the student at studentaid.gov, the same place you went to complete your FAFSA form. You don't have to do this like today or tomorrow, but as long as you have this completed before you start school in August, that would be fantastic. Otherwise, your loans will not be able to disperse onto your account when school starts. Loans typically for incoming students don't typically disperse until a month into the semester, but we still need to have all these forms completed prior to them even being eligible to disperse. So again, highly recommended to have it done before you start school in August, but you can start doing them now if you want to be on top of things and get ahead of the game. But just so you know, you do have to do these 2 things. They're both online. The entrance counseling will probably take about half an hour, so it's more of like a tutorial and a quiz, kind of have to read some stuff and answer some questions. And the master promissory note will probably take you maybe 15-20 minutes. It's just signing off saying, your rights and responsibilities of having a loan. Now, if you're a New York State resident attending a New York State school like Niagara, you do also have to complete your TAP application. This is the tuition assistance program. There's also other scholarships through New York State as well. You do have to complete this. We might have put an estimated award in your financial aid offer, so you might see that in there. But at this point, it's just estimated based upon the information we had from your FAFSA. It is technically a separate application that you have to do in addition to the FAFSA. So you want to go to hesc.ny.gov to actually complete that if you haven't done so already. You can also go there and check on your application. Our TAP school code is 0560. It's really important to note this because if you've already completed your TAP application, and you can also, when you fill out the FAFSA, there was an option for you to do it right after and kind of link up your information to the New York State website. So if you did that, just be sure that our school code is the one that's on the TAP application, because unlike FAFSA, where you can list up to 10 schools, New York State only allows you to do one. So if you had originally like UB or something like that on there, your TAP money from New York State or any money from New York State is going to go to the other school, not Niagara. So be sure you go back and check on hesc.ny.gov. We can also check for you as well on our end if you are unable to, go in and look back on that. A level tuition plan contract is also available. So this you do have to be deposited for. As soon as you're a deposited incoming freshman student, you do have the option of completing the level tuition plan contract. And what this does is it signs you up and it locks you in for the same tuition for the next 4 years. So it is, I know it says 35,000, it's actually 35,900. There was a typo in that, it's been corrected now. But it locks you in at the 35,900 rate for this year and the following 3 years. That's about $500 more than what we call regular normal tuition. But what it means is that in years 2, 3, and 4, your tuition is staying the same. It's not going up. So if you are here for the 4 years, you're projected to save about $4,400 if tuition goes up at the typical 3%. So it is really a great thing to help be able to budget and plan ahead for the future. I highly recommend signing up for it. I'm an alum from Niagara. When I was there for my undergrad, my parents signed me up for it all those years ago. And it's something we still offer. So again, I do recommend that you look into this and review and see if it's something that would be good for you and your family. But again, it is a tool that really really helps parents and students be able to plan. And this is where it's at. You can find it in the welcome portal. Again, this is in the admissions welcome portal. You do have to be a deposited student in order to be able to go ahead and have access to this. But once you are, give it let's say you deposit tonight, give it a day or for it to update, and then you should be able to see this. One note on this: if the student is under the age of 18, they will need a parent to sign off on it. So after you sign off on it, the student does, if they sign up for it, it gives them the option to print off a paper copy. One parent just needs to sign that and then return it to us. Sorry, I'm still kind of recovering from a sore throat. So sorry, I have the cough drop, but it's needed. So kind of transitioning into the student accounts end of things, billing and payments. The payment due dates for the fall semester is due on August 22nd. For this year, the spring payment will be due January 10th of next year. You can go to our payment website to sign up either for a payment plan or make a direct payment. You can sign up we either have a 4-month or a 5-month payment plan per semester. It's a $25 fee to sign up for that per semester, but then there's no other, like fees or percentage points added to that. Again, if you're paying in full, those would be the due dates for each semester. Otherwise, you can break them up and then pay monthly. If you are a U.S. student, you're going to go to TouchNet US and click on that one on the payment site. Or if you're a Canadian student, please click on the TouchNet Canada site. We do have an online billing system. So after you're deposited and when you start getting the bill goes out in July, typically after the week after our summer orientation sessions are over. The students can add authorized users. So, any parents, guardians, whoever, so that they can view the bills. Once you're an authorized user, you can view the billing statements and account activity, make the payments, look at the payment plan. You can also do a direct deposit if it's a U.S. bank account, or a paper check. You can use a card, but there is a fee for that. I think, oh shoot, I asked this last time and I forgot. I think, Stephanie, it's 2.5, 2.8.
It's 2.85%, yes.
Thank you. I had this
Yep.
backwards. 2.85% fee that is added on if you do use a credit card. But if you use the bank account or paper check, there's no fees for those. All right, some other things. We have a first aid book program. What this is that students will have all their textbooks available to them with this program automatically. It's $200 per semester that is charged to them. It is a rental program, so you do have to return the books at the end of the semester, but it is a great way for being able to save, typically a good chunk of money on your books. You do have the option of opting out of this, sometimes, especially as you get into, like, let's say student teaching your last semester or something, you might not really have books per se. You can opt out of it at that point. But again, each semester you'd have to decide whether you want to opt out and find books on your own, or stay in the program and have the $200 per full-time. If you are less than full-time, it's $40 per course. Again, you do have to opt out if you don't want to do it before the first day of class. And just a reminder, books must be returned at the end of the semester, or else you will get charged for them. But yeah, just be sure that you are looking into this once you start, registering for classes. But this is something you have to do each semester, if you want to opt out. And I always like to mention this lately, it's the health insurance. It is mandatory to have health insurance at a New York State university. So all students are charged for health insurance. Like this, I don't know what the price is for next year, but this current year, it's like $26.92 for the year. But if your student has insurance, then they can, provide that, can opt out of that, provide the documentation, and then that charge would be taken off. But if you don't have adequate health insurance, then you will be charged this and will be on your account. It is very important that you do this. As again, once you're a deposited student, you can start going through the process and really start paying attention to this, because we had definitely students not pay attention to the contact information, the reach outs, and they ended up having to pay that extra money, even though they do have health insurance. So please make sure that you are paying attention to this once you become that deposited student. Now, a few more things before we kind of get into more questions. Options for the remaining balance. There's of course, you can always make straight out payment, go sign up for the payment plan. Some parents, some families do a combination of things. They might go on a payment plan for part of it, and then the other amount they either do maybe a Parent Plus loan, which is just the direct Parent Plus loan. It's a federal loan in the parent's name. You can apply at studentaid.gov. Again, the same website as the FAFSA and the requirements for the student loans. We don't recommend you do this until June 1st. It doesn't really open up until June 1st. And also we don't want the credit to run out before we're able to actually process anything in September. So that's one option that is going to be in the parent's name. The other option for loan-wise is a private alternative loan or private student loan. This is a loan in the student's name, but they will need a cosigner for this, as they don't have enough, credit history and credit score coming directly out of high school. So a student will have to have a cosigner. It doesn't have to be a family member, or it doesn't have to be a parent. It can be extended family, anyone who you think would agree to, cosign for the student. We have a preferred lender listing at elmselect.com. You can go through on there and review like the 6 or 7 different lenders that we have in our preferred lender listing. You don't have to go with one of those though. If you have a credit union that you belong to or something else like that, where you're already a member, you might get a really good rate. Feel free to go through that, not a problem. Just have to make sure that we all know that they're attending Niagara University, and they'll send the money over to us. Lots of information. I know, kind of just threw everything in there at you. Our contact information is attached, student counts, and then for financial aid. I do highly recommend reaching out to us, email, or give us a call. We'll be happy to answer any of your questions, set up an appointment for you if you want to do in person or virtual, over the phone. because I know there's a lot to think about as you kind of go forward in this process. But we are, both of our offices, we're in the same building. We are technically a one-stop shop. We're with the records office. So we are, more than happy to help figure out whatever questions you might have. I'm going to leave it on here on the screen so they can see the.
That's a good idea. Yeah. Yeah.
Any questions?
There is a question, if it's a good one too. I'm assuming yes, but are the payment dates same for US and Canadian?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. And we have another Stephanie B on here, so.
No, I was getting confused.
I'm looking at I'm like, that's awesome, Katie. Thank you so much. And I always do too. I can't stress enough. I think the level tuition plan sometimes goes kind of unnoticed, or it kind of gets lost in translation. I think it's a very important thing to do. And more families should really take advantage of it if you can. It's so worth it,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have that peace of mind of knowing you're never going to be affected by, any kind of tuition increase. So I think it's just nice to have, to have that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if for some reason, tuition has gone up like every year. There was one year that we didn't actually increase as much as we thought, and we actually reduced it for level tuition plan price for students. It's happened once in 27 years. But know that if for some reason tuition doesn't go up as it typically does, we would make that adjustment on your account so that you still see a savings.
And yes, there will be a copy sent out of this, so in case you miss anything. Room and board also increases about 3% as well.
Yes. So the level tuition plan only locks in the tuition. Fees like student services fees, any program fees like business, nursing, theater, computer science, room and board, all those, yes, typically will still go up to 2 to 3% every year.
Any other questions about anything you could think of? Obviously when you receive like kind of the acceptance packet and things like that in the mail, you receive the merit scholarship, which that is, obviously, as you may already know, the automatic money that you receive, just strictly based on, your son or daughter's GPA and or SAT, if they submitted that. So that automatic money is guaranteed for you all 4 years. You saw it included in your financial aid package, and just maintaining satisfactory progress, and it's always there. So any specific questions maybe about anything you have received in the mail, like from admissions or financial aid, anything at all?
Or next steps, or?
Yeah, actually, seeing you said that, I'm actually going to type this in. Next.niagara.edu
Mm-hmm.
is the Next Step website, the link. So it kind of gives you, it's like a one-stop shop of everything you need to do coming up. And it gives you the summer orientation dates that are coming up in July, all those kinds of things. And, I'm definitely not, of course, we would love, I'm realistic. I know maybe not everyone that's on here today will be, might be attending Niagara. We certainly hope so. But I do like to say that if you do know where Niagara is where you want to be, I just highly recommend, sending in that deposit and doing the confirmation, just because everything kind of moves up for you at that point. Then like your timeline moves up for you, and you can start registering for different things. You become a deposit student in the system, so you get a little bit different kind of targeted information. So that kind of stuff is really helpful if Niagara's where you want to be. For anyone who is possibly, we have an open house coming up this weekend. Very, very, very busy day it's going to be. We have a great amount of registrants. It's unbelievable, Katie. It's great. But we actually have a significant amount of seniors, which we think is a great thing. So it means, students and families are, kind of still making their decisions. And for those of you that maybe are attending or thinking of attending on the 23rd, we are offering a discounted deposit rate on the spot there that day. If you would like to do that, we'll have that ready for you. So we'll give $100 off of your deposit, whether you're a resident or a commuter. So a resident, as you know, probably is $300, which would be 2 that day. And then for a commuter, 100 would be then, so the 2. So a nice little perk, certainly if you're thinking of coming for, again, you need another visit, we'd love to have you. So definitely think about that. We have 2 sessions, so you can come in the morning or the afternoon. So anything else, Katie, you can think of? Does anyone have any other questions? I guess it means you did a great job. But,
I'm trying to think of what questions we were asked the last one.
There were kind of a lot of more personal questions.
There were more personal questions last
Yeah,
time.
that we filtered
Fine.
out. So yeah.
And I can answer some questions. I just can't, like, there's just so,
Sure.
there's only so much I can answer in a format like this, but I can answer general questions.
And so like parking permit, like, okay, so students that will be living on campus, which freshmen can bring vehicles. So it's reasonable. It's only for us, only $90 for the year, which I think is very reasonable. So any students that might be bringing a car, it's not bad rate at all for that, which is great. So.
I think, I don't know if I clearly didn't put it in the slide, but I know that we got asked this a lot last time, was about additional funding potentially. So, we do have an appeals committee that meets weekly. We meet on Wednesdays. So if you've already submitted an appeal, hopefully you've heard back from us, unless it's within like the last, since before Easter, because we were off for the 5 days. But, if you are reviewing your financial aid offer and you realize that you might need some additional funding in order to make it a viable option, to be able to attend Niagara, reach out to the financial aid office, and, kind of explain the situation. We'll see if there's anything that we can do, whether it's something like a loss of a job or something that maybe we can, try to reduce your financial contribution on your FAFSA, or nothing really has changed and you just want to see if there's any additional funding, you can reach out as well. Again, we meet every Wednesday to review those. So either tomorrow, which is kind of cutting a little close because but then next Wednesday as well.
Katie, did you want me, because last time I shared my screen for the appeal process, do you want me to do that again? Or do you think you're okay?
I mean, I'll just type it in here. You really do.
Okay. Sure. Okay.
Email our financial aid email it doesn't be crazy long. There's a question here. Is any payment option available for international students? Yes. Yeah. You don't have to be a U.S. student in order for it to sign up for the payment plan.
Trying to think if there's anything else really. Maybe just some little like the orientation dates. I mean, most of you probably have received. We've handed out our dates to remember sheet, 1,000,001 times. And it's in a lot of different things. So you probably have received that already too. But summer orientation are the 3 dates that you choose in July. It is I think 11th and I don't know if I'm off the top of my head. I think the first one's the 11th and 12th. Then the following Thursday, Friday, and then that Monday is the 18th. So the first 2 are overnights. I highly recommend it. I think it's just a great opportunity. And it's when a lot of students meet somebody they might want to room with too, which is nice. You kind of click with your classmates. And then the 18th is just a single day. So if you don't want to spend the night, you don't have to. But one thing I always like to mention too, which is nice, is when you come to summer orientation, students are broken out by number, like group orientation leaders, they have a number. The orientation leaders will reach out to the students ahead of time and they'll let you know what group number you're in. And then sometimes students are able to connect beforehand and stuff, but you get to know each other. But the nice part about it is there's also a new student orientation that takes place right before you move in, like right at move-in day. And they keep you in the same group that you were for summer orientation. So it's nice, you kind of have that foundation a little bit of friends that people already know. So that's something to keep in mind too. It's nice for your son or daughter to know when they're coming for summer orientation. Some questions.
For remaining balances, that amount to applied to personal loans, fall, and then spring. So let's say you have an outstanding balance of like $10,000 for the year. We recommend you apply for the full amount that you will need. So you're not applying, once for fall and once for spring. You're just doing the whole thing, and then we will apply half, $5,000 to fall and $5,000 to spring. I hope that answers your question. If not, shoot it back in the chat, and we'll get to that. Will you be sending information on how to search or find roommates? That's you, Stephanie. I don't know.
Well, yes and no. So you'll kind of hear just a kind of a common theme, I think, amongst everyone that you're talking to, whether it be admissions or residence life. So there are 2 ways to find a roommate. So it's either if you meet someone through our social media pages, which we have 2 of them. We have a Facebook accepted student page, and we also have an Instagram. So those 2, that is where, to be honest, the Facebook page really seems to be the more popular, even though it's more like my generation, but it seems to be for that group, for the Facebook pages, the students definitely join really just to kind of meet people and end up meeting a roommate. It's a great opportunity to do that. So you can request roommates, and if you do so, you'll be guaranteed put together. So when you fill out your housing form, you'll put down each other's names, and then as long as the other person has requested you as well, then you'll be guaranteed put together. So you can certainly do that too. The random roommate selection is not so random, actually, but Residence Life does it for you. So when you're asked to do this housing form, I can't stress enough to tell your students and our future students to just be brutally honest on there. Like, that is our best way to get you with the right person. So if you are a morning person, say you are. If you're a night owl, say you are. If you're not so clean or more messy, say you are. If you're whatever the case may be, because it is how they physically take these forms. It's not computer generated, and they fit you and pair you with the best person. So being the most honest that you can about yourself and kind of your lifestyle is the best. You're only doing yourself a favor. So they do an excellent job at pairing people together. So sometimes they will try and do it by major. For example, sometimes they will do it with like nursing, because nursing is very rigorous, kind of a different animal in terms of major. So it's a little different and different scheduling. Athletes sometimes, of course, will try to pair together as well, just because you have different travel season, with things like that. So there's a lot of things are taken into consideration, which is nice. But and you're guaranteed housing all 4 years, no matter what. If you're outside of community distance, you are required to live on campus the first 2 years. Then you have the option to move off. So, okay, I'm going down here. Do you see it, Katie? Oh,
yeah, I answered that one. Yeah.
Oh, we got them already. Okay, great. Thank you. Any other questions?
Yeah, anything else? I'm trying to think what other questions we got last time.
Yeah.
I feel like last time there was a lot of like room and board questions.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
You just kind of covered the roommate question, so.
Yeah. I don't really think, meal plans, obviously there's those, there's unlimited. Yeah, that's really about it. I don't know. But I really can't stress enough to kind of bounce off of what Kate said about the health insurance. We really ran into kind of a lot of issues last fall. So we just want to really say, make sure that you do that opt out so that you don't have to, kind of backpedal and get things figured out.
It's a two-step process. So you have to actually opt out on a form online. And then you also have to upload and submit copies of your, current health insurance coverage. So it's a two-step process. You have to do both. You can't just submit a copy of your health insurance card and then think you're done. You also have to do the opt-out as well. So please make sure that you're, really paying close attention to that part of the process once you get there. See, the financial aid packets, which we received, or just merit scholarships. So acceptance packet, which had your acceptance and then also the merit letter, merit scholarship letter, was just based upon what you did in high school or SATs or ACTs. Any other aid above and beyond that would be considered need-based is based off of what the FAFSA form says, and that's for U.S. students or eligible non-U.S. students, like a permanent resident or something. So you would have, if you completed the FAFSA form, we'd have also mailed you out a financial aid package, which it's a big envelope with purple, and you really can't miss it. You would have been mailed that out, and which would have listed, in addition to your merit scholarship, any other grants, scholarships, loans, work study, anything that the student might have been eligible for would have been in that larger financial aid packet that went out as well. Hopefully that answers that one. Address again for the insurance.
Is it Haler, right?
Something. Yeah, let me.
Haler.net, I think. And percentage of residents who live campus change junior. I definitely, I don't know the exact percentage from junior to senior year. Certainly when students, if you are outside of community distance and you live on campus, at that point you have the option to move off as a junior. It's certainly a number I could get you, but as for like currently right now, like say freshmen in general, overall about 70% of freshmen live on campus. So if that helps a little bit, but I would say more so from year to year. I think in my experience, I've been here for, Kate and I both have been here for a while. Majority of students stay on, I would say for the, yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, there's definitely, we'll see like maybe there's like an athletic team or a group or something that like finds an off-campus house after the first couple years and goes there. But yeah, it doesn't, I would say, a good portion, again, I don't have exact numbers, but just anecdotally, a good portion of students do stay on campus for, 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, definitely.
I was a commuter when I went to Niagara. I only live 20 minutes away. So I represent the commuter bunch. And, I know we get asked that too, like our students still, do you interact with stuff? I mean, I had a work study job on campus, so I was in the financial aid office. So, I was definitely.
And look at you now. Look at you now. She's the boss.
I haven't left. I'm still here. But there's plenty of opportunities to get involved on campus. There's tons of clubs and organizations and, concerts and activities, bingo. I mean, there's so many things. So even if you commute, you can still definitely be a big part of the community.
Agreed. Totally agreed. Yeah. And I always like to say too, like if you're kind of in that sweet spot where you can live on campus or not, but cost is a factor for you. Like I always say, you are in the perfect opportunity zone where you can maybe just live on campus the first year or two and then decide to move off if you would like. So, always keep that in mind too. Like it's not something that you have to do all 4 years. It's not that 4-year commitment if you're in commuting distance. So just something to think about. If you want to get that experience, you can then decide to change your mind. But I say usually the majority of students who that decide to reside end up staying. They end up really loving, just more immersing themselves in the campus life and their major, all of that, and just really kind of get to know their friends and stuff. So I always say, if you can, you should, for sure. Now, Katie, one question. This is something we get a lot. Mm-hmm. So now, okay, so maybe we have some families who maybe their financial aid package is based on a commuter right now, but maybe they're thinking of living on campus. So what happens if someone changes their mind?
So I recommend if you're in the process of thinking about it, like, oh, I wonder what the comparison will be. Contact my office, the financial aid office. Let us know what your name is, your ID number. And what we will do is that we will do a breakdown and we'll send you an email of comparing, okay, here's what your charges and aid would be if you're a commuter. Here's what your charges and aid would be if you're a resident. And then we'll break it down for you so you can make that decision of whether you want to be one or the other. It's important to know if you are a resident student, you were originally packaged as a resident student and you're going to be a commuter, please do not assume that your financial aid package is going to stay exactly the same. Resident students, if you have financial need and you're living on campus, typically will have a need-based grant in there to help them offset the cost of living on campus. So if you are moving off campus or commuting or whatever, that does not necessarily mean that your package as a resident is going to stay the exact same, because you have a less of a cost. Living on campus is going to cost $12,700. So if you don't have that charge, you might not have the full need to continue to have all of the need-based funding. So please check with us first, so we can give you that breakdown so you're making an informed decision. And then once you decide whether one way or the other, let us know and we'll officially revise your financial aid package for you. And yes, you can always change. I mean, I think that's kind of where that came from, that question. But yes, you can always change from a resident to a commuter to resident. We can give you the estimate, but just let us know when it's official so that we can officially switch it over for you.
Great, thank you. So we get that a lot, certainly.
Yeah.
And I just put a reminder on, sorry, go ahead, Katie.
Just one quick thing, because I know you said the particular person who reached out said they deposited for a commuter already. If they do change to a resident, I think you just have to go make the additional $100.
Oh, I didn't even catch that. Yep. Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no problem.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Stephanie. I cut you off.
Oh, no, I just want to say I put a reminder about the parent forum on the 28th in case anyone wants to join. It's at 6:30.
It is $12,700 for the year. So half of that for the fall and half of that for the spring. And that includes your meal plan.
Great questions, though. Anything else you guys can think of? Yeah, that's about it then, huh? I can't really think of anything else to share right now besides we hope to see you all in the fall, that's for sure. That's definitely.
Financial aid email one more time, and then I'm also my own email.
No, great.
I
Yeah, I
can-
shot mine in there too. Yeah, thank you.
correctly, but
I always do.
my name right? Did I spell Niagara
Yep,
right?
I do it all the time. How does the meal plan work? Is it unlimited visits a day or 3 per day? So the unlimited is unlimited. And then there are other options where you have like a certain amount that you have on your student ID card, and a certain amount of entrances per week.
Yes, per
And then
week.
along with that, yeah, and then along with that, you get like a declining balance, like that would be almost like a debit card type of thing that goes down from there, right? Katie, that's pretty much how it works. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's two options for the meal. Like the price is the same regardless of which plan you choose, but everyone is automatically put on the unlimited plan. So it's unlimited amount of swipes, per week. And then you get I forgot the exact number, but the declining balance on the card, like Stephanie was saying. If you choose the other plan, it is not unlimited amounts of entrances into the dining hall each week. It's a certain amount. And then, but you have a higher amount on the card to go, into galley or wherever.
Yep.
I think that in like the summer orientation presentations, like the breakdowns of how that works. And then students have until the first 2 weeks into the semester to make that change. So again, everyone's on the unlimited one, but if you want to switch, you are given 2 weeks to do so.
And you do get guest passes too. So if someone comes to stay with you or something, you get those as well. So.
Yep.
Anything else? Nope.
Yep.
Oh,
they're
yes.
on off-campus jobs. So we there's a couple of different options for this. So the first is potentially work study. This is a federal need-based program. It would have been in your financial aid package if you've been offered it. Just a note that there are more people who are eligible for the work study program than we have jobs for. We only have about 100 new jobs or so for freshman students each year through the work study program. So if it wasn't in your financial aid package, that doesn't necessarily mean you weren't eligible. It just means that we just didn't have enough jobs to offer to everybody. We do have a waiting list you can go on, just email our financial aid office and we'll put you on that waiting list. You won't really find out about that until school starts though, until we see who doesn't take the jobs. But we do have other on-campus jobs that don't have anything to do with work study. And you would contact the Career Services Office. Krista Massaro is the one who actually coordinates all of the on-campus jobs. And then she, whether it's work study or non-work study, and then she might know of some other off-campus opportunities locally as well.
So summer orientation question, is there one for parents as well or just students? It's a combination. So parents come to the same one. We break you up throughout the day though. So you go, there's some just parent focused things and then student focused. Then we kind of bring it back together for dinner and stuff like that. But parents come to the same one. So it's all together.
I'm looking up Krista's email and I'll put it in the chat 1 second.
Yeah, great questions. Also too, I want to mention for those of you maybe who aren't on there, we do have a parent accepted student Facebook page as well. I kind of manage that along with someone else in marketing too, kind of post some different things. So if you're able, if you're on there and able to join, I do a lot of different updating and different stuff, and it's nice because parents kind of get to know each other too on there. It is, please forgive me while I look at my phone. I just want to get the exact title of the page right because I don't want to mess it up. I'll put it in the chat for anyone that might want to join. I highly recommend it. Class of 2026. What? Isn't it crazy? Time is flying. Okay, so that's the name of the Facebook page.
Krista's email there for on-campus jobs to reach out to her.
Are you on LinkedIn? Yes, I am. You are, Katie, on LinkedIn?
I haven't been on there in a long time. Probably need to update. So just email me with any questions. Registration for orientation started. Yes, they can, as soon as they deposit, they have access to be able in their welcome portal, right, Stephanie?
Yep. Yes. And we can actually see, like, us in admissions too, and Kate, I'm not sure if you can too, but we can actually see like who hasn't registered yet. And
Yeah.
things like that. And I will say, like, our admissions counselors will kind of borderline hound you, I think, to register for some orientation, just because some of them will fill up. And we want to make sure that you get your first choice, especially because July is very popular for family vacations. So, trying, getting on there and to get your, your date of choice would be best for sure. The overnight for SUMO, correct. Students only, parents do not, unless I don't know if you're local, Scott, but, or you can just stay, locally in the area. We have plenty of hotels, if you're familiar, I'm sure, locally in the area. And we even have some discounted rates at some of the area hotels too for families that are staying in the area. So you're able to do that if you would like. Great. Anything else? I think it might be it then. Really great questions though. These are a nice variety, and probably things that are on a lot of families' minds that not everyone thinks about.
And I'm sure we'll go again for the parent forum. I'm sure a lot of these questions will be asked again or in different ways or new questions. So and again, we'll have representatives from student affairs and residence life, as well as admissions and us. So definitely hop onto that too. That's a good question, Stephanie.
Yeah, that is. And I honestly, I can't, I'll find out for you. That's a great question. I'm gonna write your name down right now, Nate, and I'll let you know. It's a great question.
And we're certainly hoping it's done by then, but
yes. Well, plus this weather is not helping, let's be honest.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. But it's gonna be worth the wait, I think. For sure. Yeah, it's gonna be great. All right. Well, Katie, awesome as usual. Thank you. Yeah. And I'll get your information. I'm sure I'll be able to find it in the system. I'll probably shoot you an email or something. Katie, thank you. Always wonderful. Appreciate it.
No problem. And if anybody has any questions, I know things come up, even though you might not think of it now, comes up down the road. Please email us. We'll be happy to help. Again, email is typically the best way. If we don't, you can certainly call us. Don't get me wrong, call us. But if you have to leave a voicemail, we'll call you back. It is kind of a little busy right now during the lead up to May 1st and right after. So just be patient. We will get to you. But email us, and again, we'll get to you as well. But feel free to reach out. Again, we can do a virtual appointment, in person, phone call, whatever works for you to kind of help you go through and understand the financial aid offer and then what the next steps are.
Great. Well, thank you, everyone. Thanks for joining us. And hopefully we'll see some of you too at the forum. So keep that date in mind, and the Facebook page too. So, but please contact admissions for anything that you need. That's what we're here for. So, all right. And I hope everyone has a great night. Thank you. Thank you.
Have a good night.